Welcome back. 217 podcast week 4. Recapping what has been a hectic week for Illinois men's basketball. Not a lot to talk about. Tough week. Played two really good teams, two teams that I think are going to go pretty far in March if they, keep everything healthy, keep the guys that they got going. Yeah, I mean, Illinois finally, we at least have the majority of our starters back healthy besides Marez Johnson. Don't know when he's going to be back. Brad Underwood hinted that he potentially could be back by the start of the Big Ten tournament. Being a freshman, I mean, I just don't see I don't see Illinois winning the Big Ten tournament this year. I really don't. I think the Big Ten this year is the strongest it has been from the 1 to, I'd say, 8 seed. Because since it'll be at a neutral court like UCLA and USC, who are very good at home, they're not going to have that home court advantage. They're going to travel all the way to Indianapolis. I don't see them doing very well. But that being said, top to bottom this year, I think that Big Ten is pretty consistent. We just saw Michigan State go up to Michigan and beat them. Today, another big in-state game between Indiana and Purdue. I think Purdue will probably win that. There's no way they probably lose 4 straight. But then again, like I said, the best teams in the Big Ten this year aren't necessarily separating themselves like they have in previous years, where the margin of victory and the margin of play is like, hey, this isn't the Purdue team with Zach Edey. They're going to win every single night. I just don't think there's that in the Big Ten this year. I think it's a lot more balanced. I think that that has kind of been seen throughout non-conference where, the SEC, I saw the stat the other two that they were like 82 and 82 against each other this year. In the Big Ten, it's pretty similar to that. We've got some bad teams like Penn State and Northwestern and Washington, like the bottom 3. But other than that, like a 12 or 11 and 11 Rutgers team handily beat Illinois. So this year it's pretty consistent, pretty scary if you draw one of those teams that are kind of getting hot. Like, I mean, Indiana, they didn't look good the other night, but they, looked real good against Michigan State. And it just depends, you get one of those teams where they're hot and they come in and they just absolutely light up the scoreboard and you have an off night, you could be bounced in the first round, second round. But that's besides the point. That's looking ahead a little bit farther. It's coming up real quick. I can't believe that next week will be March. I'm excited for March Madness. I still think Illinois is a team that people have to take seriously when fully healthy. There's no doubt about that. But if we keep playing like we're playing right now, short season Illinois fans, we make the tournament. If we're a 7 seed, we're going to get bounced. There are good mid-majors this year that are playing unreal basketball. Like I'm telling you right now, if a St. Mary's team gets in at like that 11, 12, 10 line and you have to play them, watch out. That team is unreal. They are good. They're good coached. They play together. They do a lot of things well. And it's just been frustrating for me over the last week. Obviously a diehard Illinois fan, but there's got to be some significant scouting changes, 1, in the offseason. And 2, there's got to be some better X's and O's, draw it up. Hey, here's an out-of-bounds play. I mean, I watch college basketball Monday through Sunday every single week. And the good teams that are consistently good throughout the year that don't lose these games that Illinois has, out-of-bounds plays are crisp. They score. Set plays are, like poetry in motion. You just see it happening and you're like, oh, there's a cutter, wide open, shot, hit it. Easy. 2-3 points every time if they're drawing it up in the huddle. And Illinois just hasn't done that this year whatsoever. Wisconsin game got out of hand real early. I mean, that's one of those ones where it's, yep, you'd love to keep the streak alive up the Kohl Center, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. I made a prediction with my girlfriend and her dad. He asked, what do you think the final score would be? And I was off by 2 points. I thought they'd lose by 21. They lost by 19. And I'll go ahead and pull up the box score for that game. Just an ugly box score, but we'll go ahead and pull it up. Just anyways. Give me just a second. Okay, there we go. And so yeah, looking at the box score here, ugly, ugly game. I mean, you score 74 points, but 33 points in the second half is not good, especially when you're allowing 48. All right, so uh, I will give some props when props are due. Ben Hemrick played well. Obviously, you'd like to see this number go up a little bit, but 3 of 6. That's what you came here for. You came here to shoot the three. You came here to be one of our shooters, and you did that tonight. Now, next game we're going to get into. Also, going to give out some criticism. But it was good to see Trey White back. I really like Trey White's game. But at the same time, like, he didn't do much. It's his first game back starting. I don't necessarily love the fact that we just, as soon as he got back, we went ahead and inserted him in the starting lineup. I would have rather him get some minutes off the bench, get rolling a little bit, come in, hit a couple shots, get a couple layups. And then, next game when you really need him against Duke, insert him in the lineup, see what he can do. But I just 1 for 4. Hey, he made 5 of 6 free throws, got 5 rebounds, did what he was supposed to. He played good defense, was in there for what he was needed for. Kylan still disappointing this season. 7 points, 1 for 5 for 3. I mean, essentially these teams are treating Kylan Boswell almost like a 6'2" Zach Edey. Duke did not even guard him on the perimeter hardly at all, and they were daring him to shoot the basketball. And I mean, I understand Ivisic was sick, but then it comes out that Jake Davis is throwing up at halftime and is super sick and all this, and you start him. Okay, that's cool. I personally don't think Jake Davis is a starter. I think he's a spot minute guy where you need a 3, and you need somebody to come in and hit one, get some momentum rolling in the opposite direction. But I don't know. I don't know what Brad was thinking for this game. It's just frustrating once again. The biggest bright spot, DGL, 17 points off the bench, 26 minutes, 7 for 12, 3 of 7 from 3. That's the type of player that we need on the court consistently. I mean, that dude is an Energizer bunny. He comes in, makes a couple big plays, gets the crowd going, especially at home. But it's got to consistently happen, and he's been showing that over the last couple of games. He needs more minutes. There's no reason to bring Will Riley and him both off the bench because they do the exact same thing, except Will's a little more talented of a shooter. But that being said, Ivisic was sick, barely made the trip. You could tell just wasn't the same Tommy that we've seen all year. You can tell that the mono is really taking a toll on him. He's pretty soft inside right now, isn't really doing a whole lot. And it just stinks because he's such a talented player, but you can just tell he's not 100%. The ankle injury didn't help him either. I wish that we could see the Tommy that played against his brother earlier on in the year because that dude was a first-round NBA talent. This guy that's been playing here of late, second round maybe. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's anything to write home about when he's not hitting shots and extending the defense. But looking at Wisconsin here, I mean, it like you see this whole stat line over here, and it's like 7, 5, 5, 4, 4, 2, whatever. But their big three, Tonje, Stephen Crow, and John Blackwell. Yep, that's what a team that is a top whatever. I'm not even sure where Wisconsin's at right now after losing to Oregon. I'd say still probably top 15. Senior leader Tonje, Crow. Yep, 51 right there. I mean, that crowd really, this is more of, we we usually scout them pretty well. I don't think Steven Krause really ever hurt us that bad. Um, like this might be his career high against Illinois. But Tanjay, we kind of held in check the last time. But I mean, really, him hitting 3 of 5 threes, you can't. We're not going to win with that. I mean, he's not really a 3-point shooter like that, but his money's made at the free throw line, and we allowed him to get going, get downhill, and ultimately, the game was out of reach. By I think that game started at 7 o'clock or 7:30. I think that game was out of reach by 8 o'clock. Before halftime, they went on like a 12-0 run. It was 29-17. And Wisconsin never looked back. Completely just dominated in the second half, even with, um, you know, even with not really anybody else besides these three guys scoring. They still just absolutely dominated Illinois, and 95 points. It's something that Illinois is, over the last couple of games, have been atrocious with their defense. I mean, just so bad. And again, Illinois, 10 of 30 from three. I mean, at some point in time, Brad Underwood's got to realize that this team is not a 3-point, like, consistent making team. Yeah, we're some 3-point shooters, but we are not 3-point makers. That's for damn sure. And so, I mean, 10 of 30 ain't gonna win too many ball games. I mean, shooting 33s, why? I don't understand. Attack the glass, get inside, do something else. It's obviously not working, and we're gonna transition to this Duke game here in a minute, and you're gonna see the same thing consistently. But you allowed you allowed them to shoot 41% from three. I'm telling you right now, guys, if a team shoots above 36, 37% from three, they shoot over 20 of them, they're not going to lose. Nobody is going to lose that way. You're not going to win a game shooting this well and scoring 95 points. You're just not. And Illinois' defense over the last couple of games has been abysmal. I mean, we get beat, seems like every single time. I love the European guys, but they consistently get backdoored, outworked, out hustled, out rebounded. I am yet to see, like, a lot of these older guards in the Big Ten will completely drive at Yakachonis and post him up, and it's like Yakachonis doesn't really understand that when a guy is dribbling into you and putting his shoulder into you, that all you have to do is one time just fall backwards, and they might call a flop, or they might give you the charge. 90% of the time in the Big Ten, the refs want to be the main show, and they're going to call a charge because that they don't. I mean, they want the game to be in their hands. So if you give them a reason to, then they're going to. But frustrating game at Wisconsin. Oh well, moved past it. We weren't fully healthy. Couldn't even shake hands after the game. Frustrating. It's really, really frustrating because I personally don't think this Wisconsin team is that uber talented. Um, I think John Tonje is good. I think Steven Crow has been there for a while, and he has inconsistent games a lot. And I mean, John Blackwell is essentially Chucky Hepburn, but can shoot the ball a little bit better. I don't think Wisconsin is going to make a super duper deep run in the NCAA tournament. I know I kind of contradicted myself earlier, but I think they're good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they are a top 15 team in the nation. I just think that they have beat up on some pretty bad Big Ten teams as of late, and they are really good at home. So, contradicting myself from before, I think Wisconsin will make it to round of 32, Sweet 16, but I don't think they're necessarily a national title contender. I think they're good. I don't think they're great. I think they're going to go as far as John Tonje takes them. And yeah, frustrating game. Going to go ahead and switch gears to an even more frustrating game. And oh man, this game last night. You want to talk about upsetting, sad, frustrating, all of the above, all of the above. Um, and so if it, I guess they are not gonna pull it up. All right. Anyways, so looking at this Duke game, Duke wins 110-67, the largest loss in Illinois program history, with a team that is apparently going to have 3 picks in this NBA draft. Frustrating. I mean, simply to put it, you're playing at the biggest stage for a lot of these guys ever. I mean, unless you play for the Knicks or play for one of the big NBA teams. I mean, if you play for the Lakers, then maybe, or the Celtics. But Madison Square Garden is a crazy place to play at. I was just earlier watching the St. John's UConn game, and that place, I couldn't imagine being the home team there. I mean, just rocking the entire time. That a crazy place to play at, awesome place, um, just super sick. And there we go. Finally, the box score pulled up. All right, the Duke Blue Devils. Shout out Brady Crane. Don't know if he'll watch, but he's a Duke fan. You got us. You sure did. Here is what I'm gonna say. This number right here, 2 of 26. At the half, I believe we were either 1 or 0 of I think we were 0 of 18 at the half or 0 of 16 at the half. Yeah, right there, 0 of 16 at the half. If you are 0 of 16 at the half and you are a basketball coach, I understand that, blind squirrel finds a nut eventually, but you at one point in time, we had made 12 consecutive two-point baskets. However, we decide that we are gonna continue to shoot these three-pointers, and it's just like, why? Attack the glass. I understand that teams are packing the paint, but you have to be able to attack the glass, get fouled. This team is not the like we it's not like we don't have these really good inside scoring people. Kylan can finish inside, Tommy can finish and make a post move, and KJ needs to figure out how he can go from shooting a step back three-pointer to driving the lane. And I love these European dudes to death once again, but stop making the flashy pass. This isn't the NBA. Make that in 6 months when you're playing for probably the Charlotte Hornets. I don't care. Like, make the simple pass. That's why I think I love to watch. I don't like Michigan State. I love to watch them play basketball though, or Purdue, hate Michigan State. But these dudes, man, it's dribble, jump stop, turn, face, pass, shift the ball, get the defense moving. Oh, there's a wide open guy. Back screen, back cut, flare screen, curl. I mean, everything. This Illinois team, hell, we throw that right out the window. We just sit here and go 5 out and watch ISO ball and then wonder why we burn off 22 seconds of the shot clock, and then we end up shooting some dumb shot that gets us nowhere, where we end up we probably don't even hit the rim, or if we do, it's a absolute brick off the side of the backboard. I mean, just terrible. The offense, if it is tie, and I try to be so positive with this Illinois team because I think they're really good and I think they're really talented, but if it's Tyler Underwood running the X's and O's, sorry, Brad, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of Daddy Brad Ball. But get a real X's and O's guy. Get a guy that's gonna, I'm tired of the statistical defense where it's like, oh, if this dude's a 32% three-point shooter, we're just not even gonna give him a look. We're not gonna put a hand up. Stop with the statisticals. Play basketball. Understand basketball. You've been around too long to be, hey, we're gonna think that if there's a guy that shoots 25%, we're gonna let him have 5 looks at three wide open. Just play basketball. Just get coaches that understand basketball. Your son is gonna be a good coach in 20 years, hopefully, maybe. Now, no, he couldn't even play collegiate basketball, let alone like coach it. And I'm sorry, but if I am a guy on this Illinois team, there's no way that I'm gonna even respect a coach that, 1, didn't do anything in college, 2, sat the bench, and 3, was only on the team because his dad was the coach. Now, I could be completely wrong there, but I don't think that I would just be, like, super, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a five-star recruit, and this guy is drawing up these plays," who he didn't really play basketball. And, yeah, he might understand the game, but, like, I understand that you have in this new era of college basketball, you've got your recruiting coaches, like Brad Underwood, does a great job recruiting. And then you've got your X's and O's guys like Painter. And then you've got your like defensive guys like Rick Pitino, who that team's defense is clicking on all cylinders, high motor, high everything the entire time. X's and O's. And in any more watching college basketball, I like to watch the huddles and see who's got the clipboard and who's got the dry erase marker. Is it the head coach? Is it the assistant coach? Is it some dude that looks like he should be selling car insurance? I mean, who is it? And for us, it's not Brad Underwood. It's not uh, Jeff Alexander. It's not Antigua. It it's none of them. They all just kinda sit there and they let the 28-year-old guy who's never, coached college basketball run the show. And I don't know who's doing the game plan or the scout or whatever, but send him back too because they are doing an abysmal job. 110 and 95 points in 2 games. Ain't gonna win. Just not. You're just not gonna win. Um, but looking back at this game, shout out Trey White. Um, this is the type of person that I'm talking about. This dude is a good player when healthy. 16 points, attacking the glass, getting good finishes. Some of these were in garbage time. Oh well, don't care. Um, KJ, 0 for 4 from 3. That's rough. A lot of his looks weren't great. But 4 of 10 from the field. It wasn't a great showing on national television, I'll tell you that. Kylan, 0 for 4. I mean, if your 2 guards are going 0 for 4, 0 for 4, it's not gonna be a good game. Um, Tommy, I still don't think Tommy's 100%, and I still don't think he's anywhere close to being healthy, anywhere close to being right. And it stinks because that dude's a heck of a player. And then as much flowers as I gave you earlier, Ben, we're back to Ben Hum cardio because this dude is just as cold as ice when he's off. And I just don't think that this guy is worth playing 22 minutes a night. He did all right on defense, but at the same time, Duke was just ahead the entire time, and they were working on. I mean, hell, at the end of the game, they had some dude that looked like Rudy from Notre Dame. Shout out Tash Trees. Who came in and bombed a three-pointer. The game was over. They subbed their starters out with like 8 minutes to go in the second half. I mean, they said, "Go ahead. We're gonna work on other shit." Um, DGL, 0 for 2, 4 personal fouls, 8 points. Not consistent. They're not real consistent from the field. Will Riley, terrible shooting night. Jake Davis, 0 for 2. I mean, it's just 0 for 0 for 0 for. And like I said, blind squirrel finds a nut eventually. We found 2 of them. 2 out of 26. That is 7.7%. It's just appalling to me that a team is shooting 0 for 16 at halftime. And I understand that you got to keep shooting them because in today's college basketball, if you don't, you're not going to win. But don't make that the emphasis of the entire game. Tell them, let's drive the ball, kick, let's get a good shot. If the lane's open, which most of the time it really wasn't, they were kind of packing it because we couldn't shoot. but you got to find ways to create an attack and get a basket, and that's going to free up some of those lanes. And eventually, you're just going to hit one, and they're going to be like, okay, all right. And maybe if you hit one or hit two, and you hit two in like a four possession stretch. Okay, now we're rolling a little bit. Now they're going to have to respect us, but we just didn't, and we took weird, kind of crazy 3-pointers that I didn't love. But you're not going to win a game shooting 37% from the field, and definitely not going to or win a game shooting 7% from three. And we were terrible from the free throw line, which is unusual. This team's been pretty good there. And then, I mean, Coop didn't even play that great of a game, like 16 points, but he also only played 23 minutes. That's crazy. He had 16 points in 23 minutes. Efficient, efficient, sort of efficient, efficient, not efficient. Like, I mean, just balance. This Duke team's going to go far if their guards, if, they've got Tyrese, who's a vet guard. I think this Duke team's good enough to win it all. I think the storyline would fit pretty well. But they're a good team. I mean, but the one thing is you shoot these two numbers right here, 55 and 52, you're going to win every night. I would, if you told me that you shot 52% from three and scored 110 points and you lost, you must play for Alabama, because that team can lose scoring 100 points. But it's frustrating. I love Illinois men's basketball, but this has been a frustrating stretch. Looking ahead, we've got not necessarily a gimme game, but you play Iowa at home. That's a rivalry game. It's a must win, because then you go up to Michigan, and Michigan looks like they're the Michigan of old. And you play them at Michigan, tough place to play. So that game will probably not be covered on next week's podcast because of the 2:45 start in Michigan. We'll probably preview it, probably give our thoughts, similar to like the Ohio State game from week 1. But yeah, frustrating week for Illinois men's basketball. But we're gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my new segment, shout out of the day, shout out of the week. My shout out of the day is all of the guys. I obviously came back home this weekend. All of the guys who decided to show up, have a good time at the cabin. It's always fun getting the boys back together. It's, coming back home and realizing what I'm going to have for the rest of my life really means a lot to me. A simple text saying, hey, I'm gonna have people over. And when you have, I don't know, 15, 20 guys over in a literal 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and everybody just makes the most of it, it's a great time. I love my boys. I appreciate everybody who came out there. It's awesome. I appreciate you guys. And then final segment of the day, I'm going to open it up for questions, but I'm also going to do call-ins. So people got the link. They can add themselves, call in. If they've got comments, concerns, questions, we can talk about it for the next probably 10, 15 minutes. So yeah, if anybody wants to call in, that's cool. I'm going to answer some of these questions and look over a little bit of the stuff that's been going on. And we'll recap and look into week 5 and podcast 5, which will be next Sunday, which will be the 2nd. And then obviously looking ahead to 2 weeks, that Sunday will be the March 9th. That is going to be an unofficial weekend. Still thinking of something to do for that. Might do a in-person podcast with all the boys who are coming for unofficial. Should be a pretty fun time. Don't know exactly how live will be for that, but it'll be pretty good. And yeah, so let's take this away. Yeah, any Anybody gonna call in? Do it now. If not, go ahead and get off here. But Tanner said this team never finds a nut. Yeah, attack the glass a little bit more, get some better shots. Probably find the nut eventually. Yeah, it's frustrating. Haven said, uh, "Yep, I don't understand it. I'll never understand why he's our X's and O's guy." Oh, it's frustrating. It is. It's beyond frustrating. Um, but yeah, I hope Tyler goes somewhere else for next year. Um, he's not a Division One coach right now. And then Tanner commented again, "Shut up, Bryson Dukas." Um, no, don't shout out Dukas. Um, he knows what he did. Um, dude's banned 10 times over. Um, but he's got to run a suspension, and hopefully he'll be back soon. Thick Nuts said ILL for life. Man, you got on the Illinois bandwagon at the right time last year. It might be time to jump off now. I'd go watch Texas Tech. They're your home state, your home team, so they're pretty darn good this year. But yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to keep this thing going for that long, unless somebody wants to hop on and talk a little bit more. So we'll look ahead to next week. I might get on here and next week or 2 weeks talk about the Ohio Valley Conference tournament for the women's for basketball. If the reason why I talk about them a lot, my girlfriend plays on the women's basketball team. Shout out Lyric Johnson. She's a baller in her own right, and she she makes me enjoy women's basketball. Even if at first I didn't, I really do enjoy watching those games. I'm very intrigued in that team. I watch every game, win, lose, or draw, and so it's been a rough stretch for my teams lately. Notre Dame obviously lost in the national championship, and then Illinois had a rocky kind of stretch here, and the women's basketball team were hot as fire and have cooled off, and it's just been hard. I love basketball, I love sports, but when your teams consistently aren't playing at their best capabilities, it's hard to watch. Um, yeah, I appreciate everybody hopping on here. Adding comments, talking. I appreciate the people that are viewing this. At 100 subscribers, we're currently at like 50 something. At 100 subscribers, we're gonna do a giveaway, just to show my gratitude to everybody who's tuning in weekly. So, yeah, if you're subscribed, shoot me a DM on Instagram. Show me that you're subscribed. Going to do a little giveaway for 100 subscribers. Tell your friends to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. And yeah, I appreciate everybody who listened in this week. Probably similar time, same time next week, give or take a couple of minutes. And I really appreciate everybody. And yeah, see you guys next week.